All right, so we're back with part 2 and we're starting off with row 5. So we're going to go ahead and chain up to start row 5. So you're going to do a chain 3 and then you're going to turn your work. And now we're going to go ahead and chain 1 and then do a double crochet right here into this very first stitch. So we're going right there into that first stitch and we're doing a double crochet. So now we're going to chain 1 and that's going to begin our repeat for this row. So from here on, this is going to be our repeat that we're going to be doing all the way down the rest of our row. So we've got that chain 1 on our hook and we're right here at the section where we have the 10 front post double crochet clusters. And we're going to begin now doing back post double, or they're not clusters, but back post double crochets. And we're going to be skipping this very first stitch right here. And we're going to go right here into the second and we're going to do a back post double crochet. So to do that, we're going to be moving our hook back here on the back side and coming up right here in between those 2 stitches. We're going to push down and come out on the other side, isolating that 1 stitch, and we're going to grab our yarn and pull up a loop, and then we're going to be doing our double crochet just like normal. So we're going to grab and pull through 2, grab and pull through 2. So we're going to do that a total of 8 times. So that's my first one. So we need to do 7 more stitches in the same exact manner. So we're going to wrap our yarn around our hook. We're going to go right here to the very next stitch. We're going to go behind our work, bring up our hook, push down on that stitch to go out the other side, and then we will be able to grab our yarn and finish out our double crochet just like normal. So that's number 2. And remember, we're going to do a total of 8. So we're going to come back in again. We're going to go over here and push so that we come out the other side, and I'm pulling down the work so I can kind of keep it out of my way. And now we're going to complete our double crochet like normal. And this is our 3rd back post double crochet. Now we're going to do our 4th. We're going to come right here in the gap, in that space. We're going to push down on that double crochet we want to work. And we're going to come out here on the other side. And we're going to go ahead and do number 4. Now we're going to go ahead and go back in between with the next stitch. We're going to push down with our hook, bringing the next stitch to the back. And we're going to go ahead and do number 5, completing that double crochet. Right there, we got 5. We've got to do a total of 8. So we're going to do number 6. Oops. Number 7. And number 8. Now we're going to chain 1 and we're going to skip this next double crochet here in this section, and we're going to come over here to where we have these 2 double crochets. We're going to wrap our yarn and we're going to do a double crochet, chain 2, double crochet right there into that same space. So we've got our double crochet. Now we're going to chain 2 and we're going to go back down in between those 2 stitches. Work right there in that space and do another double crochet. And that is the end of the repeat for this row. So you're going to chain 1 and then you're going to perform 8 back post double crochets. We're going to be skipping the first stitch, working into the 7th through the 9th, or the 2nd through the 9th, and then we're going to skip this last stitch. So you're just going to continue on the same exact way all the way down the rest of your row. So we're making these little chain spaces that we're going to be working in later. We're doing 8 back post double crochets. You can see those right there. And when you look at the front side, the right side of your work, you can see how that's beginning to work out. So you're going to pause here, continue on down, and meet back up with me when you get to the end of your row. So now you're meeting back up with me and you're at the end of your row. You've just finished doing your 8 double crochet, back post double crochets in this section. And we're right here at the end of our row. So we're going to go ahead and chain 1. And now we're going to work here into this chain 4 that was at the beginning of the row. So we're going to go into the 3rd chain. So we want to go 1, 2, and 3. and we want to go into that and do a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. And we're going to do I did a chain 1. Now I've got the double crochet going right back into that same stitch, doing another double crochet. And that is the end of row 5. So now we're going to go ahead and move on up to row 6 by doing a chain 3. And we're going to turn our work. Now we're going to do 4 double crochets right here into that chain 1 space. So these are just regular double crochets. That chain 3 is actually counting as our first double crochet because we need 5 in this section. So we're going to put 4 double crochets right there in that chain 1 space. I've got 3 and 4. So now the beginning of this row counts with this right here. We're counting 5 double crochets. Now the repeat starts. We're going to chain 1. And here we are at our back post. We just did back post double crochets here on this previous row. Now we're going to work into this as front post double crochets. We're going to be skipping the very first stitch in the row, and we're going to go right here to the second. We're going to insert in that space, come out on the other side, and we're going to go ahead and grab our yarn, pull up a loop, pull through 2, and pull through 2. So that was our first front post double crochet. We're going to do a total of 6 of these. So that's my first one. So I'm going to do number 5 in the very next stitch. Right around it, I should say. Here is 4. I'm counting backwards. So that's actually 3. I was counting backwards. 3. We're going to do a total of 6. 4. Right there to the next stitch. 5. And to the very next stitch, our 6th one. So now we're going to be skipping this next one. We're going to go ahead and chain 1. We're going to skip this last double crochet, front post double crochet. And we're going to go over here to that chain 2 space we created. And we're going to put 10 double crochets into that space. So we're going to go ahead and wrap our yarn. Insert here into that chain 2 space. And start working a total of 10 double crochets. So that's 1. Here is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Just like that. So now we're going to chain 1, and that is the end of our repeat. I'm sorry, you don't have to do the chain 1. So the 10 double crochets, this 10th one is the end of our repeat. Now we're going to just be chaining 1 and continuing on over to this section where we have these back post double crochets. We're going to be skipping the very first and then doing a front post double crochet in the next 6 stitches. And then you're going to be skipping the very last and continuing on in the same exact manner all the way to the end of your row. And then we will meet back up at the end of your row and we will do the last little section right here together. So this is your 2 double crochet, chain 1, or it's a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet into the same stitch. We're going to work that one together. So you're going to go ahead and pause here, and then we'll come back at the end of your row and work that together. All right, you should be meeting back up with me at the end of your row. I have done the section right here where I have the 6 front post double crochets. So now I'm going to chain 1, and I'm going to move over here to this double crochet, chain, double crochet space. So for us, we're going to be working 4 double crochets directly into this space, just 4 regular double crochets. There's 1, 2, 3, and 4. And now, just like we began the row, we had 5, but we're going to go ahead and do that last one by counting up. We're going to do it here on this chain. So we're going to count up 1, 2, and 3, and we're going to go into that third stitch. So hopefully you guys can see that, and we're just going to do a regular double crochet. And that ends that row. This is row 6, and it is done and over with. So now we're going to be moving on up to row 7. So we're going to chain 3, and we're going to turn our work. And now we're going to go ahead and do a double crochet into the top of the next 4 double crochets. So we're going to be skipping this first one because our chain 3 that comes right out of it is counting as our first double crochet. So we're going to move right here to the next, and we're going to do a double crochet. We're going to go into the next stitch and do a double crochet. And we're going to go into the very next stitch and do a double crochet. And last stitch in this section, we're going to do a double crochet. And now we're going to chain 1, and this chain 1 starts the repeat for this row. So now we're here on the back side of our work, and you can tell because you have all the ridges. So we're going to start doing back post double crochets again. So right here we have this first one we're going to be skipping, and we're going to work in the very next one, or around the very next one. We're going to do a total of 4 in this section now. So each row, as we're working this, we're skipping the first and the last and working here in the center. So we're dropping down by 2 stitches each row. So right here on the second one, I'm going to go back here behind my work, and I'm going to come up through that space. And then I'm going to move over here with my hook, pushing down to bring that up towards the back so I can see it good and work it. So now we're going to complete the back post double crochet. I grab my yarn and pull up a loop, grab and pull through 2, grab and pull through 2. So I've got to do this a total of 4 times in this section. So we're going to go ahead and do number 2. Now we're going to go over here. We're going to do number 3. And we're going to go right here and do number 4. And now as you see, we have 1 left in this section. We're going to be skipping that. We're going to chain 1. And now we're going to move over here to our double crochets. We've got 10 double crochets. And we're going to work a double crochet into the top of each one of those stitches. So just a regular double crochet going right there into that first stitch, doing a double crochet. Now I'm moving into the very next stitch, doing a double crochet. Into the next, this is my 3rd one, double crochet. Here is number 4. Here is the 5th double crochet. Number 6. Number 7 double crochet. Number 8 double crochet. Number 9 double crochet. Last but not least, we have the 10th. So you want to just make sure you don't miss any of these. So go back and check your count. This is the end of the repeat for this row. So very short repeat. So you're going to go ahead and continue working in the same way. You're going to do a chain 1 and then 4 back post double crochets, working in this section, skipping the first and the last. Chain 1 and then do your 10 double crochets in the double crochets from the previous row. So just go ahead and pause here. We'll meet back up when you get to the end of your row, and we'll work the last 5 stitches at the other end together. So we've met up here at the end of the row. You've just finished your last 4 back post double crochets. We're going to go ahead and chain 1. And now we're here at the very end of the row. There's these 5 double crochets. We're going to go ahead and work a double crochet into the top of each one of those. So you're going to do 5 double crochets, 1 into the top of each one of those stitches from the previous row. So there's number 3, number 4, and then there's a chain right here that was the last stitch right here that we've got to work into. So we're going to count up 1, 2, and 3, and we're going to go into the top of that 3rd stitch to do our last double crochet. And now we are going to go ahead and move on up to the very next row. We're going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. And we're going to turn our work. So now what we're going to be able to do is we're going to start doing our front post double crochets again. So right now for this beginning of this row, we're going to work a front post double crochet around each of the next 4 stitches. So this chain 3 is counting as a double crochet, and it's taking care of this very first stitch in the row. So we're going to go right there to the very next one, and we're going to go insert our hook into that space. We're going to come up around the other side, pulling that stitch forward, and we're going to go ahead and complete the double crochet by grabbing our yarn, pulling up a loop. We're going to grab and pull through 2, grab and pull through 2. So we're going to repeat that again with the very next stitch and do a front post double crochet into that one. Now we're going to do the third, and we are going to do the fourth one. So now we're going to chain 1, and that begins our repeat for this row. So we're going to go ahead and move over here. We're now at our section where we have these were back post double crochets on the previous row. So we're going to work front post double crochets into the center 2 stitches. So we've got a chain 1 on our hook. We're going to skip this very first stitch and move right here to the second, and we're going to go ahead and do our front post double crochet. There's our first one. We're going to do a total of 2. There's our second. Now we're going to chain 1, and we're going to skip this next stitch on the previous row, and we're going to come over here to where we have these 10 double crochets, and we're going to work a front post double crochet on each and every stitch, or into each and every stitch. So I'm going to go ahead and grab up this first one. I'm going to grab my yarn and pull up a loop, grab and pull through 2, grab and pull through 2. So that's my first front post double crochet. We're going to do a total of 10. So we've got number 2 right here. Now we're going to move on to number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, number 7. Kind of fix my yarn real quick. Number 8. So 1 into each and every one for this section. And number 10. And that is the end of the repeat for this row. So you're going to go ahead and chain 1. You're going to work your 2 front post double crochets into the center right here of the very next section. And then you're going to chain 1 and continue to do your front post double crochets. Total of 10 of those for the very next. So you're going to work in the same exact manner all the way down, and we're going to meet back up at the end of the row. So here we are. We're back here at the very end of our row. We're going to go ahead. I've just done my 2 front post double crochets, so I'm going to chain 1, and I'm going to move over here. I've got these 5 stitches to deal with now. These are 5 double crochets from the previous row. So we're going to do a front post double crochet on the first 4. So we're going to work a front post double crochet on the first, second, third, and fourth stitch. And now we're going to just do a regular double crochet. And this is a chain that we began this row with. So we're going to go into the top of the 3rd chain, 1, 2, and 3. And we're just going to do a regular double crochet worked right there into that chain 3, top of the chain 3. So that's our double crochet, and that ends out row 8, I believe is what we're on now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep, 8 rows. So now we're going to go ahead and move on up to row 9. We're going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. And we're going to turn our work. So now here for row 9, we're going to be doing our back post double crochets again. So we're going to work a back post double crochet into the very next 3 stitches. So we're not going to be working into this very first stitch. Our chain 3 is taking care of that one. So we're going to do a back post double crochet in the next 3. So we're going to wrap our yarn around our hook, go behind our work and insert, and then pull back so that you can see that stitch. and you're going to go ahead and do a back post double crochet. Now we're going to go into the next one. So we're just going right around it and pulling it up to the back. We're going to work a second back post double crochet, and we're going to do our third. We're going to come right in here through the back. We're going to push back on that to bring it up where we can see it back here, and we're going to go ahead and finish out our third back post double crochet. So now we're going to be chaining one, and that's going to begin the repeat for this row. So we're going to chain one, and we're going to skip this next stitch, and we're going to come right over here to where we have the two front post double crochets worked. So we're going to come right here in the center of those, and we're going to wrap our yarn and do a double crochet, chain two, and we're going to go back into that same exact space and do a double crochet. Now we're going to chain one, and now we're over here where we've got the 10 front post double crochets. So we're going to work 8 back post double crochets. So we're going to be skipping the first and the last stitches. So we're going to work right here in this section. So we're going to go ahead and do 8 back post double crochet, one on each and every one of these stitches. So there's my first one. As you can see, I skipped this very first stitch, went into the second. So that's number 1. Now we're going to go into number 2, or around number 2. We're going to go number 3, go around that one. Number 4, number 5, oops, number 6, oopsie daisy. Let's redo that real quick. Now I'm going to do number 6, number 7, and number 8. And you should have one left right here in this section that we're going to skip, and that is the end of your repeat for this row. So you're going to go ahead and chain 1. You're going to come in between these 2 front post double crochets and go ahead and work a double crochet, chain 2, double crochet directly in between those 2 stitches, chain 1, then you're going to work 8 back post double crochets into this section right here. You're going to be skipping the first and the last stitches. So you're just going to work 8 starting in stitch number 2 through stitch number 9 over here. So we're going to go ahead and work in the same exact manner all the way down your row. So you're going to go ahead and pause here and meet up with me at the very end of your row so that we can work that last part together. So you're meeting back up with me and you're at the end of your row. I've got a chain 1 on my hook. I went ahead and chained 1 after doing this last little V stitch. I did the double crochet, chain 2, double crochet, chained 1. And now we're going to come over here. We're at the last 5 stitches in this row. We're going to be skipping this very first stitch, and we're going to go right here into the second, and we're going to do a back post double crochet just like we've been doing. Same thing we've been doing. We're going to do a total of 3 of those. So that's the first one. Now we're going to go right here into the very next stitch. We're going to go to this stitch, and we're going to do number 2. And now we're right here. We're going to go in there and do number 3. And now we're here at the very last stitch. We're just going to do a double crochet. So we're going to find the top of the chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And we're going to go right there at the top of that stitch and do a regular double crochet. So now from here, what you're going to be repeating is the same thing that you started down here on row on row 2. You're going to be going up to the next row. We're going to be chaining 3, and you're going to be doing that each time you move up. You're going to turn your work. Once you're back on the front side, the right side of the project, you're going to be able to just work your front post double crochets. And you're going to continue on from what you did down here on row 2. You're going to be doing the same exact thing. So you can rewind back or go back to part 1 and watch that again if you need help. I'm going to review it real quickly with you here because we're going to be ending this tutorial and finishing up. You'll be able to keep working your piece until you have it all finished. So I've got a chain 3. I'm going to wrap my yarn, and I'm going to do a total of 2 front post double crochets to start out this row. So here's my first one, and we're going right here in the next stitch. We're doing the second, and then I'm going to be chaining 1, and I'm going to skip this last stitch down here. I'm going to move over here into that chain 2 space, just like we did way back in the beginning, and I'm going to do 10 double crochets. From this point forward, it's the same thing that you've been doing. So you're going to do 10 double crochets right there into that chain 2 space. Rather quickly, I'm going to work those with you. I'm at number 4. Here is number 5. Number 6. And 7. 8. And I'm having quite a little yarn knot going on. It should be 9 and 10. I'm going to double check my count because I've been distracted a few times. So we're going to go back 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. All right, now we're going to be chaining 1. And we're going to be coming over here to where we have these 8 back post double crochets. And we're going to work 6 front post double crochets. So we're going to be skipping this very first stitch. We've got a chain 1 on our hook. Skip this stitch. We're going to go right here to the second, and we're going to do a front post double crochet. And we're going to continue on in that same exact manner until we've done a total of 6 of these. So here's my second one. Here is my third. Here is my fourth. Here's number 5. And here is number 6. So that is the end of the repeat for this row. So you're going to go ahead and chain 1, and then you're going to move over here to this chain 2 section, and you're going to do 10 double crochets right there in that chain 2. Then you'll be chaining 1 again, doing 6 front post double crochets, making sure that you're skipping the first and the last stitch in these sections when you're doing these front post and back post double crochets. And you will just continue on until you have worked out the entire project, and then you'll be able to just do a simple join. If you're doing the cowl, you'll be able to just fold the piece over, join your last row to your foundation chain. You can do that with a slip stitch, with a yarn needle, whatever you prefer. Very, very easy to do. And I'm going to go ahead and pause here and bring mine back into view. You're going to be joining right here along the side. So this is a finished panel. This is the wrong side. We're going to go ahead and put the wrong side facing out, because when we do our join over here on the side, we're going to be working on the sides. So the right and left sides as we're working this piece, so we're going to work on that side. I have personally, what I'm doing with mine is I'm going to be joining in. So I'll just find the top of the corner stitch, which in this case is right here for me. And then I will find the top of this other panel corner stitch. And then I'm going to do a single crochet. So I'm going to add yarn and do a single crochet all the way down the side of the project, just kind of matching it up. And as you'll notice when you're matching it, you've got half of each piece on each side. So when these are joined together, the way it's going to look is one continuous piece. Let me see if I can show you a little bit easier, turning it back out this way. So when it's joined, it's going to complete that stitch, because you have 5 on this side, 5 on this side. Just an example right here. So when these are joined, when you join it, it is going to flow, and you won't be able to see your join when you're finished. So it's going to look really, really nice all the way down. You, like I said, you can join any manner that you want. You're just going to seam it up there on the side. I recommend a single crochet with it turned with your wrong side facing out. So the back side of your work is going to be looking at you, but you can always tell because it has all these ridges. So hopefully you've enjoyed this tutorial. There's lots of things you can make with this really beautiful stitch. Really reminds me of like an Art Deco pattern. I hope you guys have enjoyed learning it. Please leave me a comment below and don't forget to hit the thumbs up on this video. Thanks for watching. Bye.